If you're looking to move to Arizona, you've probably narrowed it down to 2 locations, either Phoenix or Tucson. But which do you choose? Some might say it's whether you're a wildcat or a sun devil. If you ask a Phoenician, they'll tell you Tucson is too small and too slow. And if you ask a Tucsonian, they'll tell you Phoenix is just endless concrete, strip malls, and traffic. So who's right? I actually have a unique perspective for you. I lived in Phoenix for a long time, and now I live here in Tucson. And honestly, I love both for completely different reasons. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 2 places. I'm going to talk about weather, housing costs, lifestyle, size, so that you can figure out which side of the U of A ASU rivalry you are on. Now let's start with sheer size and scale of these 2 regions because they feel completely different. Phoenix is the official state capital and brings all the energy and infrastructure and heavy-hitting perks that you'd expect from a major metropolitan hub. The Valley of the Sun is home to over 5.2 million residents, and with a footprint that large, you get absolute world-class entertainment. We're talking massive museums like the Heard Museum or the MIM, which is the Musical Instrument Museum, major Broadway tours that come through, and every major massive stadium concert hits Phoenix. Plus, it's one of those cities that has pretty much every major sports league. You've got the Cardinals in the NFL, you have the Suns in the NBA, you have the D-backs in MLB. So there's always something happening in Phoenix. Tucson, on the other hand, is much more intimate. It's community driven, and it has just about 1 million residents. The University of Arizona sits right at the heart of Midtown and anchors the city's identity. Instead of a bustling corporate capital vibe, Tucson feels like a massive, tight-knit town with a deep historic soul and a thriving independent arts and food scene. Geographically, they're only about 110 miles apart, straight down the I-10 corridor. And depending on traffic and which side of Phoenix or Tucson you're coming from, you're only looking about 90 minutes to a 2-hour drive. So if you live in Tucson, sneaking up to Phoenix for a major concert or a playoff game is an incredible easy weekend trip. So if you're flying, Phoenix Sky Harbor is a massive international hub with direct flights to almost anywhere. A lot of major airlines have bases in Phoenix, which makes it incredibly convenient. Tucson International Airport is much smaller, fewer flights, but it's an absolute breeze to get through. There's practically no stress and hardly ever any lines. But let's talk about the biggest physical shift when driving from Phoenix to Tucson or vice versa, and that is the weather. And you might be thinking, like, how different could it be? Everyone knows that Arizona gets hot. That's no secret. But the secret is that Tucson is consistently cooler than Phoenix because of elevation. Where Tucson sits at roughly 2,600 feet, Phoenix is down at around 1,100 feet. And this elevation difference means that Tucson is generally 4 to 5 degrees cooler during the day, which may not sound like much, but when you're talking about the difference between 110 and 115, it's a big difference. And then the real magic happens at night. Because Tucson is surrounded by open desert and mountains, the heat is able to escape after the sun goes down. Whereas Phoenix, on the other hand, has all the concrete and asphalt and building materials that just trap that intense desert sun all day long, and then it radiates it back out. So in the summer, when at night it might be 90 degrees in Phoenix, it drops down to a comfortable 75 in Tucson. Now, in either city, you're going to have gorgeous winter weather where all you need is a sweater. And as someone who moved here from Idaho 25 years ago, you are not going to miss driving on snow and ice. There's something about the Tucson summer evenings that give you a break from that heat that's just really special. Now, if you're someone who loves being outside, both of these cities are great. but they offer completely different versions of the great outdoors. So we'll give Phoenix its dues first. If you love water sports, Phoenix has something Tucson just can't match, and that's actual water recreation right in its backyards. In the outer suburbs, you have incredible desert reservoirs like Lake Pleasant, Saguaro Lake, and Canyon Lake, plus locals love tubing down the Salt River all summer long. And for hikers, Phoenix features iconic heart-pumping climbs right in the middle of town, like Camelback Mountain and Piestewa Peak. So if you want boating and jet skiing and intense summit hikes, Phoenix is phenomenal. But this is the honest truth from someone who's lived in both places. If it's panoramic, jaw-dropping views you're after, Tucson completely alters your perspective. The peaks in Phoenix are great, but they're essentially isolated mountain hills popping up in the middle of the valley floor. Tucson's landscape is entirely different because of its sheer size and scale and the dramatic height of the ranges that surround us. And it's cradled by 5 distinct mountain ranges. So you have the Santa Catalinas to the north, and this is where Mount Lemmon is, and it's over 9,000 feet of jagged mountain views, just gorgeous. You have the Rincons to the east, the Santa Ritas to the south, the Tucson Mountains to the west, and the Tortolitas to the northwest. When you look out the window in Tucson, it's not just hills in the distance, they are massive, jagged walls of rock that rise straight up out of the desert floor. They make the Phoenix peaks look relatively small in comparison, and they give Tucson a stunning close-up mountain backdrop in almost every single neighborhood. And because the mountains surround the entire Tucson metro area, pretty much anywhere you live, you're 15 minutes or less from a trailhead. But where Tucson really shines is the world-class hiking and biking trails. In fact, it's home to what's known as the Loop. It's internationally famous. It's a completely paved, car-free trail. It's actually a network and 130 miles of trails that interlocks and connects the city. It's great for cyclists, runners, even just casual walkers, anyone who wants to get out into nature without having to fight the city, traffic, or driving hours to get there. So really, it depends on if you like lakes and what we might call island peaks, or if you want those massive mountains and continuous trails. Lastly, let's talk about your wallet. Housing dollar for dollar just goes farther in Tucson. You get the big perks of city living in Phoenix, but that doesn't come for free. Right now in 2026, the median price of a home in Phoenix is between $410,000 and $425,000, $410,000 that is. And in Tucson right now, that median price is right around $360,000. So you definitely get more for your money in Tucson. At the end of the day, if you want a fast-paced, major metropolitan city with nightlife, sports teams, and upscale restaurants, Phoenix is spectacular. But if you want a more relaxed, community-centered, outdoor living vibe with cooler evenings, Tucson is hard to beat. If you're leaning towards making Tucson your home, I would love to help you find your perfect neighborhood. All my contact information is in the description below. But hey, if you watch this video and you're realizing that the energy of Phoenix is actually what you're looking for, I've still got you covered. I partner with some phenomenal realtors in the Valley, and I would love to get you connected to make sure that you are taken care of. So shoot me an email or a text or give me a call. Let me know what you're looking for, and let's get you started on your move to Arizona.